this time on Whatever We Want. We talk about
a lot of things. The industry. We interview my friend and coworker I've worked with in the past. Her name's Paige. We both worked as PAs, and we talk about like the industry and her experiences, some crazy stories she's had. We talk about a strip club at some point. It's very interesting. As always, there are time codes down in the description if you would like to jump around. Hope you enjoy.
Saucy.
PreBanter peanut butter. Danielle, how are you doing, my friend?
I am doing pretty good, Jake. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Just recorded an interview with my friend Paige. She is a professional in the industry. I've worked with her on some of the commercials in Camelot as a production assistant. Most recently, she worked as an assistant coordinator. I hope you enjoy it, like a kind of inside scoop about the industry and everything. All right, you ready for the intro, Daniel?
Yeah, hit me with it.
You may want us to talk about this or that, but we don't care. We're going to talk about whatever we want. Welcome back to Whatever You Want, the podcast where we, Jake and Daniel, two devilishly handsome gentlemen, talk about movies, TV shows, behind-the-scenes insights, filmmaking techniques, all that jazz, plus more, which now includes interviews with industry professionals like Paige. Thank you again, Paige, for being on the show.
Whoa.
Really appreciate it. It was a good conversation. I hope you enjoy it. Here it goes. Just for those who don't know, and Paige and I worked together. I think we were both PAs at first, and now the last commercial we worked on, you were bumped up to assistant coordinator. Yeah, we worked on Camelot on a couple shoots, a couple commercials. Yeah, that's, I don't know, I guess how we know each other. Is there anything you want to add to that story?
Everyone was talking Jake up before he got to the office, and I had already been in the office.
Oh, really? I didn't know this.
You had been working for them since they were 18.
Yeah.
You were 18, and I had just started working, and they were like, Jake's our favorite PA.
Oh, man.
Oh, Jake's part of the Camelot family. And I was just like, gosh, I really have to be better than Jake. And then you got there and I was like, oh my gosh, he's a sane person. I like him. I thought you were
going to say I got there and it was like, oh, I can beat this kid. Piece of cake.
No problem. I'm already better than Jake. Yeah, I just was like, okay, so Jake's the standard. I have to be better than that.
That's really nice. I didn't know that. I think you're the standard.
Everyone loves
you were a hard worker, and your drive, which we will hopefully get into. We will get into, not hopefully, we will get into today. I don't know, just very admirable, and I don't know, you know what you're doing in the industry, which is why I'm excited. We got industry profesh here on the podcast.
Oh,
so
man, I'm here with the standards.
And Daniel,
guys.
Where have you worked? In the industry? I know we've talked and you've been in LA and now in Pittsburgh. How did that happen?
So I did what you did. We had at Ithaca, we have the Hollywood program. So I went and stayed in LA for 3 months in school and then 6 months total for the summer. I was never sold on going to LA, even as the program. I was thinking maybe London or Europe or somewhere. And that'd
be really cool.
Well, I went to Ireland and worked in a film flaw. That's what they call film festivals out there. And also an arts festival. And that was super cool. That kind of got my Europe kick out of the way. So I could go to LA.
Yeah. It's a cool way to do it.
When I was in LA, I was like, great, I can be tan all year. This is And I was sad when the pandemic hit. I felt like I was finally getting my footing. I had a good company, kind of the way I work with Camelot. It was more consistent work, and I could take other jobs outside of that. And so I worked with Full Screen, which is a media branding company.
Okay.
So I was working on Mattel Toys was the client I worked on. And we did Barbie, we did Hot Wheels.
Oh, that's really cool.
Jurassic World action figures. But I was starting to write a little for the American Girl doll series. And then also
oh my gosh.
No,
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Writing,
I love American Girl dolls. And they let me in the writer's room for a couple of those. And then I also got a job working as on EllenTube.
Really?
Momsplaining with Kristen Bell. And that was really fun. And Andy, Ellen's producer, was my boss.
Yeah.
I was working on
That's
him.
sick. That's
crazy.
Awesome.
And the next week, the pandemic hit.
The world ended. Dang.
And I missed my mommy after a couple months. So I came back to Pittsburgh, and I was shocked at how much work was going on in Pittsburgh. And and I started getting on commercials, but then I got on a Netflix series for 3 months as their office PA. And I think I learned a lot from that job, that kind of set me up for being ready for this assistant coordinator position move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to end up being a coordinator, or is that I don't want to keep going down this path, I want to do more writing?
The thing that I keep thinking in my head sometimes is my idea was always to be a coordinator, but now that I'm learning more about what they do and how hard they work, it's not that I'm not capable of it and I don't want to do that, but I sometimes
it might not be for you.
On certain jobs, like with camera and everything, I'm like, I want to coordinate for them one day. But with other jobs, I look at the coordinators and I'm like, I do not envy you. Yeah,
I kind of felt the same way when I was in LA. I was interning for a post office, not like a mail office. I was going to say post-production office. But I got to like sit in with some like offline and online editors and kind of see what they did, and a lot of them were like, like if you work hard and grind, you can just be sorting through files, and then by the time you're 40 you can be an editor. And I was like, that doesn't sound like an exciting life. Like, it's like my whole world just like crumbled there. I was like, well, what the heck am I doing? So like I'm still kind of like, I know I want to do something in post-production, but I'm kind of still like searching for
feeling it out
what that might be. So I kind of feel I can relate to you in
I think everyone in this industry can relate to that. Like, you have so many ups and downs and self-doubt and then confident moments where you're I just rocked that, or I nailed it today. And, you get to be a hero enough for you to be down in the dumps about it occasionally.
Right.
But it's give and take. And I feel like the longer you're trying to figure it out, the harder it gets. So you just kind of gotta pick something.
Just jump into it.
Yeah, you gotta pick a direction, and if it takes you off course, then just that's the way I am, at least.
Yeah. Okay. How do you deal with that thought? I mean, you said you kind of like jump into things, but like, how do you deal with those like thoughts of, I don't know, second guessing and not really knowing what you're doing? If you were to give advice to people that are kind of maybe a step or two behind you, me.
You're hardly a step or two behind me. I'm pretty level playing field streak. I think I'm still figuring that out. I think I can tell most how I feel after talking to somebody about it, and if they tell me no, and I still want to do it, I'm like, you don't tell me what I should do with my life. I know what I want, and then that usually pushes me in that direction. I worked for the art department when I first moved out to LA, and I think that was something I was like, why the hell am I in the art department? Like, I want to be in the opposite end. I want to be in development.
Right.
But that led me down, that really trained me for the industry, because the art department works hard. You work 90-hour work weeks regularly. And so you kind of just have to be open to everything, I think, and know when your limit is hit.
Right. Yeah. It's I mean, it's all about who you know, like, and if whatever you can take, whatever job you can do to like get your foot in the door and get to know more people, even if it's like not what you want to do right now, like you might just have to suck it up and like do it temporarily, kind of thing.
Yeah. That's what's so great about this industry, is so many things are temporary.
Yeah, that's true. But there's less stability that way, which just freaks a lot of people out. Daniel, I don't know how much you know about Daniel, but like he wants to get into like video games and video game design. So it's also kind of a not so stable industry.
I feel it when you guys are talking about like how things are like temporary and things are moving around all the time. Because that's literally what I'm doing right now. Like I'm working at, like, I have like a main job right now, but that's kind of temporary. And I'm also just joined. I went back to my college and I'm going to be teaching there as like a temporary position.
Oh, whoa. Professor, believe this kid's a professor.
But yeah, so it's just weird to think about how now I'm going from like these contract jobs, and now I'm also doing like my own thing. So yeah, I feel that like things are very fluid. It's just about rolling with it.
For sure, yeah.
I want to kind of pivot. Do you have any advice for people listening that are trying to get into the industry, just based on your experience? Like, what do you wish you knew, I don't know, when you were getting started, however many years ago?
I wish I knew how much bitch work it would be.
Yeah. It is. Why'd you laughing at that?
You know?
It's like, again, I can relate to that.
I wish I knew it would be degrading at times. Like, I would be plunging toilets. And it wouldn't be, I didn't put it in the toilet. It was some full-grown person. Things like that. Like, just basic maintenance, prepare. And I don't know that I would have wanted to know, because it might have turned me off and I would have gotten through it.
That's a good point.
So maybe it's a good thing. And, if you're listening, do it anyway. Suck it up. You're tough for it. It won't kill you.
That's pretty good advice, though. It is kind of degrading at times. And it's unfortunate because, like, if you don't do it, if you're like, well, I'm above this, like, there's 20 other people that are lined up. They're
willing to do it.
Willing to do it.
Yeah, and then there's also the fact that everyone working above you had done it, and they probably did it without complaining, and that's why they are where they are. And at the end of the day, it's fine. It's just, I got a degree so that I wouldn't have to live at home and do chores for them. And now I'm going to work and doing chores for you. You know, it's just the name of the game. And what stinks is I want to move around so much. I want to live in a new city for every year of my 20s. I don't care. And obviously the pandemic has made that harder, but having to start over in every city and be someone new's bitch every time and start working up every time I move, like that's a little tough. I want to get to the point where I'm traveling for work and they're paying for my flight.
So do you think for that strategy, would you have to like stay in a place and build up enough like credentials that then you can like get hired other places? Or do you think like if you work up to like consistently, I don't know, like for example, like coordinating with Camelot, then could you move to another city and start coordinating there and then build your way up to something else? Like, what's your strategy then?
Yeah, you definitely can. And I think that's why Pittsburgh's helped me so much, knowing that, okay, when I do move next, I will have at least the assistant coordinator role.
Right.
Instead of just, I mean, I had a lot of other roles. It's not like I was just a PA and that's the only thing on my resume. But that's just how you get to know people in new cities, is by PAing. And if you don't have, I think it's a little different depending on what you want to do.
Okay.
I don't think you have it all figured out either. So.
Yeah. I don't think anyone does. And that's fair. Like, I don't know. So what's the like next city you want to hit up?
I think it would be really cool to go to British Columbia. If I was going to jump countries, British Columbia would probably be the next place I go. But Seattle, Portland, San Diego, and Austin have all kind of been on my radar.
Yeah, Austin's apparently like popping off. I've heard like a lot of people are moving there because it's the cost of living is like a lot less than LA.
Yeah, I mean it's still around the same price, but value for your money is way different.
Like you can get like a house instead of like a 1-bedroom apartment kind of thing. Not that extreme, but
could maybe possibly not need 5 roommates, only 1. But Seattle, I have 2 friends living out there, and having an industry like there is in Seattle that's a little bit smaller than LA, but still bigger than Pittsburgh maybe. I don't know. I feel like Pittsburgh's popping off. So I feel a little stupid for moving, but also winter. No thanks.
Pittsburgh, I don't think people know just how crazy Pittsburgh is. Like, I remember when I first went out to... I remember my dad always told me that like the Batman trilogy, like the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, filmed a lot of their stuff in Pittsburgh, and I was just like, that is so cool. And then like the first commercial I worked on for Camelot when I was like 18 or 19 or whatever, I think our coordinator was like worked on Batman, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I made it, I'm in, I met everyone I can, like I peaked. But I don't know, I think Pittsburgh's really cool and just like what they're doing out there. But like it's crazy that like all the other cities that are like popping off, like Atlanta, Georgia has been doing a lot. Like that's where all the Marvel stuff's filmed. Yeah. Even like Louisiana has like a hub. I just know because like there's this extras casting agency that Daniel and I both registered for, and like they have hubs in Atlanta, Louisiana, LA, New York, maybe Seattle. I'm not sure.
I thought they were in Vancouver as well.
Oh,
maybe.
Vancouver's huge. Well, that's the other thing about when you said, you know, some people tell you you're not going to be an editor until you're 40. Those are people that were working in an industry that was half the size as our industry now. And
True.
There's just so much more opportunity. And I don't know that it's the best thing for the planet, that I feel a little bit of guilt for sometimes, knowing that my industry is causing a lot of waste. Things like that. But it's also creating so many jobs. Yeah, pros and cons to every job, I think. But it's huge. It's popping. So much content.
That's an interesting point you bring up about like the waste. I think someone, maybe it was Joaquin Phoenix a couple years ago at the Oscars, was saying something about that. about like stop using like private jets and just be better or something like that. I think there was a whole speech about that, but this industry does like produce a lot of waste, and I don't think that's talked about too much or like thought about. I know I don't think about it too much. Is that something you like consider a lot?
Well, given all the bitch work I do, I throw away a lot of trash.
True.
And I clean out a lot of storage. And I know with work I've had in the past, it's been so much stuff that I will just load up my car and bring it to the donation center. But they would have me just, toss it in the dumpster. And it sickens me. It's just hard to watch, and you want to do what you can, but sometimes that's not the most popular, especially when you don't really even feel like you have an option sometimes as a PA.
Right.
You do get kind of cornered where you just want to do everything the most efficient way for them and do whatever they say is right, but then you're just watching it be done the lazy way. And who knows how much you're helping if it's just a cycle of...
Yeah, but like I do understand and appreciate like efficiency, like time is money kind of thing. It's just unfortunate that like to get that we have to have so much waste, and I don't know like how we would start like, I mean, one step at a time, but like start like fixing that, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I guess that's where it starts, is like if I get it together, I would love to figure out the solutions to that and really make that part of my work to encourage and advocate for that. That's definitely something I hope to have more time for. When I get to take my winter months off from the job and can afford to do that, that's the plan. That's the plan.
So do you want to end up like making your own studio, or do you just want to like write TV shows and movies? Where do you see yourself like way down the line?
I think my overall goal and happiness is usually dependent on how often I get to tell stories. Like this kind of stuff I love, just sitting around talking and telling stories. I definitely think I'm in it for the storytelling. And if I found like a weird niche way to do it through some media outlet, I would definitely stick with it, or just try to get in as many writer rooms as possible until someone that can do something with my script wants to make it. That's what's frustrating, is you used to be able to just sell a pilot, and now they want half the season written and the pilot produced. They want the pilot produced, and that takes a few more steps. And I really want to get on top of my game for short film contests and things like that. I just finally in Pittsburgh, I feel like I have the right network to get that kind of thing going.
Yeah. Very cool. Actually, hold on. So when we were originally talking about like you being on the podcast, did you think you had to drive all the way to Harrisburg?
I didn't think so. I didn't think you maybe, but I just needed that clarified.
Well, you like wrote, like you texted me, you were like, so like, am I coming to Harrisburg? So like, I don't know if you like agreed thinking that you were going to come. I was like, wow, that's dedication. Like you agreed to this thinking you were going to have to drive like 3 hours from like Pittsburgh area to Harrisburg. I was like, thank you. That's like a good friend there. Oh my gosh.
I don't even think of driving as a chore. I think it's just, yes, I'm going for a drive. I don't have to think about anything.
That's true.
Hours. Yeah. But I also was camping, and I wasn't sure where Harrisburg was or where I was camping. I just had an address and I was going to go, and I was like, I wonder if Harrisburg is close to me. And then that's when I asked you. I was like, I don't think I'm going to Harrisburg.
Yeah. So like, obviously you worked on all these commercials and stuff, but like we were on a commercial, and it was like at this like campsite or something, and you were like seriously considering camping out the night before and just like waking up and then working the day like as a PA on the shoot. Like, do you camp a lot? Like, what's that like?
Yeah, my family has always camped. We had a pop-up camper growing up, and then once we were old enough, they had got a cabin up in Seven Springs area, and I was kind of upset because that meant we weren't going to be camping as much. And now as an adult, I'm like, I have to camp when I can camp.
Make up for lost time.
Yeah, it's just such an affordable way to vacation, and I'm addicted to it. My whole family's like, okay, we've created a monster.
Yeah. No,
but
that's
I did
fun.
go camping at Moraine a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, how was that?
Now that I've camped there, I do regret not camping there because it would have been so easy and convenient. I found a really nice campsite. So
just wake up and start working. Next time, yeah.
It's better than waking up and having to drive an hour.
That is true. Yeah,
that's a good point.
This shoot place was like an hour north of the city or something like that, or something like that. But which I was already like 45 minutes north, so I only had to drive like 15 minutes north. So it was great for me because that's where I was staying, like with family. But
I forgot about that.
I don't know, camping. I like camping. Daniel, do you camp at all?
I used to camp up at my cousin's place up at State College.
Yeah.
You've been up there, so you know like where it's at because we have like a lot of land up there.
Right.
So we usually just go out and just hang out for a bit or just do like weekends and stuff like that. But I haven't been able to do that in a while, so I gotta go back and do that. Really miss doing that kind of stuff.
All right.
Where I went on Saturday was near State College.
Oh, really? Where at? That would have been closer to Harrisburg than Pittsburgh. You could have made the drive.
That's what I was saying. Moshannon or something like that.
I have heard. Yeah,
that sounds familiar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Black Moshannon or something. Yeah. Black Moshannon. I think
okay. Enough about camping for now.
I'd much rather talk about camping than anything else.
Too bad. We're talking about the industry.
Okay, fine.
So can you just give me a little rundown about, I don't know, how you got interested in the entertainment industry, the film industry?
So I always wanted to write ever since I was in 4th grade and people started telling me I was good at it. I just kind of stuck with it and that's what I wanted to do. No one ever told me to stop thinking I was good at writing. So
that's good.
And then I was, I didn't think for 1 second that I couldn't make a ton of money as a writer immediately. And once it got time to picking a school and thinking about that, my mom was just kind of the one to say, well, what about writing for TV? And after that, that just kind of clicked. And my cousin went to Cornell and she is a reality TV producer in LA. So she didn't even know I wanted to do it. And then I mentioned wanting to go to Ithaca and I didn't know that Ithaca College was right next to Cornell. And so she's the one that said, if I could go back and just get a television degree at Ithaca, I probably would do that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, she's a Cornell grad and she thinks that's all that. And it was the perfect match. And I think if I could go back, I probably would have done the film major instead of television video because it was more broadcasting.
Right.
At the same time, I want to get into 3-camera sitcoms.
Okay.
So I still have a lot of studio experience from that major that I hope one day I get to be in a studio.
Yeah. That's really cool. Did you by chance watch we talk about Marvel on this podcast, but did you watch like WandaVision?
Yeah, the first time I watched I saw your podcast and then I was like, ugh, I can't watch the WandaVision thing yet because I haven't watched it yet.
Oh yeah.
I had started watching Loki, and so that's how I got into watching your podcast or listening to your podcast. Then I had to go and watch WandaVision immediately after Loki. I wish I would have watched WandaVision first.
Yeah.
I didn't like that more.
What do you think of like that like sitcom kind of style TV show? I
loved it. I think so. The first episode, you're like, what the heck?
I know, yeah. Like, what is this?
I'm like, normally, this, it's cool because it's a sitcom. But then now knowing the storyline, I love that episode so much because it's such a play on the world and combining worlds and different aspects of them, I think are what I love about Marvel the most.
Yeah. That is really cool. Mm-hmm. So you gave us a little bit about your backstory, like how you got into writing. So I gotta ask the typical question that I hate when I get asked, but like, what's your favorite movie or TV show?
That's a loaded question. Like I could go on for this whole thing about that, but my go-to answer, my favorite movie was always Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The second I watched that, I just felt like I could watch that movie forever.
Yeah.
And I needed to stop saying The Wizard of Oz at a certain age. I was like,
that's a classic.
That's my favorite classic. But I'm big into Audrey Hepburn movies and classics, Jane Austen movies I could watch for days. Rom-coms, probably. And TV shows, Phoebe Waller-Bridges.
Okay.
TV show she's touched, I love.
I'll have to check some of those out. That's cool.
Bag, Killing Eve.
Yeah. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. So you said that you like worked in the art department. I want to ask this question to everyone that we start to interview, but like, so do you find like, did you work any like odd jobs back before you were like in the industry that you still like find yourself like applying those like lessons today, like in the industry? Like I can give an example because I know that's kind of like a strange question. Like I worked at FedEx and it sucked because I was just lifting boxes all day, but they just like drilled into me like how to properly like lift with your legs and not your back and like the correct form. And so I can like lift pretty heavy boxes for like my build through FedEx, which helps me as a PA. But like, so like, I know if you had any like, I don't know, odd jobs in high school that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, FedEx is pretty much a main qualification for the production office.
Yeah.
Being able to FedEx things without thinking, that's like huge on big Netflix shows and things like that. I feel like I had a lot of different kinds of jobs, but I worked at a movie theater throughout high school.
Oh, okay.
A little bit into college. I'm writing a sitcom about that. My first finished pilot.
Oh, awesome.
About the movie theater. I did smoothie jobs. I did dog boarding, and I feel like doing things and catering to other people and making sure everything's perfect, which is any job, but in the industry, it can make or break you. And in restaurant, I was a bartender and waitress, and that prepared me more than anything. I mean, also helped me get a lot of jobs actually in the industry.
Oh, really? Like how so? Just people you met?
Yeah, I mean, just people I served. I got into Camelot by my neighbor. She went to the bar restaurant that I worked at 2 summers ago, and we reconnected there. I was her server. I noticed she liked the place, so I'd start requesting to serve her. Then she saw my mom walking a dog, and they started talking, and she said that she will give my name to Camelot, and that's how I started working for Camelot. So it is just about serendipitous moments like that, and that happens a lot when you're working at a restaurant on Santa Monica Boulevard.
True. That's where I lived, on Santa Monica Boulevard when I was out there. It was interesting, but when I was out there, I couldn't drink, so I couldn't have gone to the bar.
Oh yeah. See, that's why I turned 21 during my semester out.
I was supposed to, but then the world ended a month before I turned 21.
We talked about this. Oh, that's so rough.
Yeah, it's all right. It means I get to go back and make up for lost time. But you mentioned did you finish the pilot, you said?
Yeah, nothing's ever finished when you're a writer.
Yeah, right. But like, so what's your next steps then? Are you going to like, I don't know, like present that to people? Like what's the next step for that? I don't even know.
Well, I also write a lot of poetry, and I feel like I have a lot of poetry that I'm willing to start sharing, and I enter them into contests, but I've only won one, but I didn't win.
So awesome.
No, never mind. I didn't win. I came as a winner.
Oh, that's still cool.
But it wasn't like a national contest or anything. It wasn't any,
that's one more contest than I've won.
No, but I met the script supervisor on the last Camelot job, and she's a writing coach. So I'm hoping to take things a little bit more seriously now that I'm not.
Yeah. I
have my footing as an adult a little bit more, and I do think you need to mature a little bit before going out and publishing something.
Right.
You don't want to. Virginia Woolf says, "Don't publish anything before you're 30." So
okay.
I'm like, Virginia Woolf said it. I won't.
But on the flip side, I feel like the last 2 years in this pandemic has aged everyone 10 years. So we're in our mid 30s now, pretty much.
Honestly.
Yeah, it literally. But I also feel like I stopped developing for a year and a half. That's
true. Yeah, I agree.
I still feel so much your age because that was the age I was turning before the pandemic.
Right.
And you probably feel like,
I've only been to one bar that's pre-COVID craziness. Every time I've been to a lot of bars, I'm outing myself here, but last year at college, but they were all super tame. We had to sit down the whole time, and it's kind of sucked. But so I haven't experienced that, which is I don't know.
Yeah, that's sad.
It is. Why? How did we get to this sad conversation?
You guys were talking about not being able to develop, but for me, I feel like I've actually, at least for my skill set, I've been able to develop a lot more. But for me, I'm doing 3D modeling, animation, stuff like that, and because I've been able to be inside and just hone in on that.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of leaned into that in a way. I still feel sad we haven't been able to go out and do things. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I feel like because of the pandemic, I was able to get to a point to where I can get, better with my techniques.
That's good.
Yeah. And I think for so long I thought if I just had, maybe like a year to just focus
exactly
on writing.
And then
it came and
it's like, oh, I wasted
I can't
this.
write anything. I hate this. And I think it's totally personality types, how creatives were able to put in work over time. Like socialization is what keeps me going. And without that, I just turned into a crazy person.
Yeah.
But I think for people that like to be alone, it's a really good time to focus and zero in on those skills and teach yourself something. But I was just stir crazy.
I was just bored. I needed something to do.
Yeah. I was just exercising because it was an excuse to go outside.
Yeah, I went for a lot of runs when I got home. I want to ask you, actually, we can cut this if you want, but would you be willing to tell that story you told me about the first date strip club thing, or do you not want to talk about that? I can cut this.
No, I'll tell that story. No.
Okay. This was when you were in LA, right? So like you told me about this guy, like you put me in contact with him to potentially be a roommate when I move out to LA. It didn't end up working out just because it was farther away from where I was looking, but like he's a nice guy. Like we're probably gonna hang out when we get out there. But sorry.
You totally should.
Yeah.
Dylan's great. So it's an even funnier story. I don't know if I told you at the very beginning, but we were testing a game show.
Yeah, you did tell me that.
Yeah. So we were testing a game show with
you and this guy that you never met.
Yeah. It was me and my two roommates, and then he was the fourth contestant, and one person was a celebrity and one person was a normal person. So the two celebrities were Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. The two of us had to pretend
That's so awesome.
Yeah. And so I was paired up with Ashton Kutcher, which was Dylan, and I expressed that he was cute and had pretty green eyes, and he was my Ashton Kutcher. We ended up saying like, oh, we both think each other's cute. Let's go on a date. He asked me out for Friday, the day before Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And then my cousin said, hey, I have tickets to this show. I can't go anymore. And it was that day. And so I was like, well, that could be a fun show. And
I just know where this is going.
And so she's like, it is a dance show, and then ended up being a strip dancing show, and it was
great
about
first
like
date.
The panda losing its virginity, like was the whole
I didn't know that
the show, and it was insane and uncomfortable, but he was the perfect person to do that with. Like he's so not awkward about anything, and we ended up just wanting to be friends anyway. But it's a funny little meet cute for a movie idea someday.
Yeah, definitely. Good inspiration.
Reenact it. It was something.
So yeah, if you make your way out to LA, anyone listening to the podcast, like it's a fun first date. You never know what's gonna happen. Thank you for telling that. I appreciate it. But that actually reminds me, I wanted to like put a little plug that if anyone's listening right now and you're enjoying it, feel free to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, but let us know what's your favorite exotic animal that you would like to see featured in a strip club show. Leave that in the review, because that'd be a freaking funny review to read. So do that. All right, back to the tank, back to what we're doing. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was a funny story. I have that in my notes. I was like, I should ask you about that. Sorry, Daniel, do you have anything? I feel like I'm getting hijacking.
What's your favorite color? I don't...
Orange.
Okay, that's respectable. Like
isn't it crazy though that like we like can't know if like what we perceive as like what I perceive as orange is what the same thing that you perceive as orange? Like that blows my mind.
I got it all the time. Like, what if everyone's favorite color is the same?
Right.
It's
oh my
a different
gosh.
color to everyone.
So so your favorite color is orange. Mine's blue. So like, what if our oranges are the same?
Is it actually the same? Yeah. I always think about like the mantis shrimp, because they are able to see in like ultraviolet. Are they able to see in the infrared? They're pretty much their whole spectrum is just wider, and then they can just see all different kinds of crazy colors.
Man,
like,
what are we
imagine
doing
having
wrong?
those kind of eyes. Like that'd be crazy.
I think that would be one superpower I might want if I like could come down to choosing one superpower. Being able to like click on different animals' eyes.
X-ray.
Like different filters with their eyes.
In the dark.
Just see the lens through like a dog's eyes.
Or maybe the superpower is to be able to see what another person's seeing.
Like Mr. Potato Head in Toy Story, when like the Mr. Potato Head like, covers her eye and you can like see like in the bedroom.
You could look straight at someone, be in conversation with them, and just go like that and see yourself talking.
That would freak me the heck out.
It sounds like
That would be cool though. That'd be
almost like being John Malkovich. Like that one scene in there where like I forget what his name, but the guy went into Malkovich, and like he was like kind of seeing himself. I'm like, what the heck's going on?
That'd be really handy if like you were like, I wonder if there's any leftover like food in my teeth for my last meal, and just like quickly like as you're talking, like, all right, I'm good.
that would be so key for dates. Like if you
oh my gosh,
do that during dates and know
like how's my hair look?
Like.
Ooh, dang, now I want this power. What the heck? I don't know. I always said teleportation would be like amazing, because then like you save so much time on, or so much money and time like on gas and just traveling, but also like part of the fun is traveling. So then it would become more of like a luxury thing, I guess.
Okay, Jake, teleportation, like come on, man. If you're able to teleport, go to like Fort Knox, get all the gold and take it out, or do something like that.
Wow, they immediately went to crime.
That's why they haven't invented teleportation yet, because of people like Daniel.
Yeah, what the heck, Daniel? You're ruining it for everyone.
Jake's like, I'll save a buck on gas. I'm like, I'll get all the money, like.
Well, I think maybe if we just started with like capsules that you could rent and be like, for $20, you get to teleport to London, you know?
And be like airports,
yeah,
kind of thing.
That would solve all of the environment issues.
Well, have you seen the movie Jumper with Hayden Christensen?
No, I've seen that movie.
I mean, I have, yeah.
In that movie, like, you can only jump to places you've seen.
Already been to.
Or already been to.
Well, no, you can do it off of photos too, right?
Yeah, but you can also do like real photos. Like he got a photo of like the pyramids, and he jumped there.
Oh, you know what? That's funny, because that was from the director of Mr. and Mr. Smith. That was Akiva Goldsman. Akiva Goldsman was technically my first boss. He does not know me at all, but
oh, really?
He has a production company, Lead Road Pictures. He is a producer, writer, director. So I don't know how he worked on Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but I think they did Jumper because it's the director. It's the same director. So
that's awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
dang.
I don't know, but he also wrote Batman Begins.
What?
He's a pretty cool dude.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I got to park his Tesla one time. That's as close as I got.
Oh my gosh.
I was the intern reading my script.
My claim to fame, similar to that, was the producer of the Lego movie. I like got like his lunch out of his car. So I don't mean to brag, but
well, my mom, when she knew I was working for Kristen Bell's YouTube series, she just wanted all the details, and I was like, yeah, Mom. Kristen looked at me and with her eyes told me that she liked my haircut, and she's like, oh, I know she probably liked your haircut. I'm like, yeah, because I showed my hairdresser a picture of Kristen Bell. So.
That's hilarious. Like I'm working for her. I have to
have the haircut. Like, you know, she's blonde. I got away with it.
That's cool. I want to ask another like advice question. If you have advice for someone in any field, I guess, like looking for their passion and like what they want to do, what advice would you give to that person?
Of course, at 24 years of age, I have friends that ask this in real life and stuff. And I do think it's really hard. Sometimes people try to make their hobbies and their passions their full-time job. And I don't know that everyone has that stamina to do something they love every day. And that's what I worry about with writing too. If I wrote every day, would I still love writing? Well, Dorothy Parker says it best when she's like, I hate to write, but I love having written. And I think a lot of finding what you want to do in life is, what do you like to identify as? What do you like about when people hear about your life and perceive you a certain way? What do you think would make you proud to say, hey, I'm a veterinarian? Like, hey, I'm a doctor. Like, are you proud to be a lawyer, or are you someone that thinks of lawyers as smugs? Like, it just depends on who you are, how you look at the world, what you think will make you feel like you lived a full life. If it's being a mom or being a dog mom, you know, it's what you'd be proud to say you do. I think that's how you should decide.
That's very profound advice.
Oh, yeah. I know. It's almost like I'm a writer.
True. Yeah, I like to say that, just like, and a lot of people have told me, and I've tried to take to heart, is like, it's okay to not have it figured out.
Yeah.
Whenever, like,
just keep doing something that makes you, focus on something else. Focus on eating right. You know, wait till you figure it out.
Yeah. I want to ask again. This, I guess, like about work-life balance. Like, how do you manage that with like when you're on set working 14+ hour days? Like,
yeah, that must be a lot. Like,
I don't know.
Are you not dead?
And then there's the people that have kids to go home to, or even dogs. Like,
I know.
people stress me out on set talking about their dogs. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't pay my power bill last week, and that's really rough. Coming off a shoot and then going home to not having power.
Yeah.
And it was my auto payment and got reset. But when you don't have time in the day
to check that,
be on hold with your power
right.
company, you know, it's tricky, and there's a learning curve. I think you have to know when, okay, I need to not look for work. It was nice is sometimes when there's enough work going on, like in the summer and spring, you don't have to actively be looking for your next job.
Right.
You just try to stay off, and then the work will come to you because you have more time. And then the second you want to work and you feel like you've had too much time off, that's when all work is nowhere to be seen, and you just gotta move cities, I guess. I don't know.
I'm feeling that right now. Like right now I'm kind of like, I need to like focus on getting to LA and doing some other stuff, like some real estate stuff. And like I feel bad I can't do the shoot. I was asked to do the shoot this weekend, and then another person called me when I was on the last shoot to come out the next week and do it. I was like, I can't. I'm sorry. And then
you feel so bad saying no, and that's why it's so important to know when you really do need to say no. Like I think for me, fitting in camping trips when the weather's good, that makes or breaks my happiness. Like if it's been, you know, I went probably 2 or 3 months of good weather without camping, and it was starting to kind of really irritate me. So having that, just knowing what you need to do on the weekend or when you do have time, making time for that. Power bills come second.
I just think it's just cool to see how many parallels are between like what I do and what you guys do. And just
let's talk about one or two of those, Daniel. Go.
Like we were talking to me earlier, like you were saying like, oh, why'd you laugh at that bitch work joke? But like, or statement, because like I feel like that's what I'm doing right now. Right now I'm doing a lot of bitch work so I could just get my thing that I want to be my main thing to be my main thing. There's just a lot of that parallel with that. Yeah.
It's a ladder.
Yeah.
Emerging media was a major that was part of what we called the Park School at Ithaca, which is our communication school. And so we worked very closely with the emerging media kids that were learning how to design and storytell video games. And I was accidentally put in that major when I first got to Ithaca.
Oh.
And a couple of times in my life, I have regretted taking myself out of it, because writing for video games is a great industry. I just think it's, you know, that's something I would definitely do if the opportunity.
Do you think you'd ever cross over? Yeah, like if it ever presented itself?
Writing's so versatile. You can storytell, but
you guys could, I don't know, ever do a project down the road or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Let me know if you can do dialogue. Dialogue. Character development.
Yeah.
Punchlines, not so much.
I want to thank you again, Paige, for coming on and for almost driving all the way to Harrisburg for this podcast.
Thank you for having me. It was just fun.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Wow, what a fantastic interview. Daniel, it's great. I can see you again, finally.
I know, dude.
That was awesome. Huge thanks to Paige again. Ready for the patron shout-outs?
Yeah, do patron shout-outs.
Cue Epic Star Wars music. Boosh, we got patron Lori, Frank, Rick, Lisa, Evan, Tony. Thank you so much for listening to the tier. Thanks for the shout-out. If you want to support us over here on Patreon, the link is down in the description. You get episodes early, special perks, all that jazz and more. Also, if you want to support the show, you can go on over to Apple Podcasts, leave a review. Like we mentioned in the episode, leave it with like what we said with the like animal that the exotic animal that would be interesting to see in like a strip show kind of thing. In terms of reviews, Carson, the amazing Carson, commented on YouTube. Thank you again, Carson. Really appreciate all the comments. But he wrote, me and my cousin just saw it yesterday. It was amazing in terms of Venom. Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. I agree, Carson. All right, back to past Jake. But yeah, that is all I had about that. We're going to be doing some more interesting stuff next time. I was actually... I forgot to mention this Paige. Maybe she'll watch this and hopefully see it, but I'll also text her. But I had an idea a while ago about... I might have told you, Daniel, about doing a new segment or new like kind of episode where it's called Pitch Practice. Basically, we have an idea for like a TV show or a movie, and then we like gather stuff and then present it as like a pitch to practice, like a fake show.
Are you going to
like,
do that with each other right now?
No, not right now. I'm just saying like we get Paige back for a future episode if she's down, if she wants, since she's a writer and like. It would just be practice, like good practice pitching and developing something. It doesn't have to be anything that she actually wants developed or we actually want developed, but. Yeah.
I feel like it'd be funny if we just like went with like random topics. Like we gave each other like a concept, like a keyword,
teleportation,
and then we had to go off of that.
Plunging crap out of a toilet.
Yeah, and then you had to like make something off of that.
Yeah, my battery's about to die. So, anything else you want to talk about before we head out? Ready for the outro?
Man, that's it. That's it.
All right.
Let me know when.
When?
We just talked about what we want to talk about, and now we're done.
Thank you so much for listening. Really, really, really appreciate it. See y'all next time. Goodbye.
Peace.